Welcome, everyone, to a Pac-12 chat. I'm Andy Katz, pleased to be joined by Arizona head coach Tommy Lloyd. And Tommy, first off, I don't know if it's 100%, but it's pretty close to, I feel like every team that played off the mainland or on the West Coast that went east right after Thanksgiving either lost or had a difficult game. And in hindsight, you know, it feels like that's clearly what happened with the Utah game. And since then, you haven't lost again. When you just take a big picture look back at where that game fell, and not take anything away from Utah, but just where it fell on the calendar and where you guys are now versus then.
Well, actually, I've petitioned the Pac-12 if we can get that asterisk on that game, you know, because it was played under difficult circumstances. I'm actually joking. Hey, Utah played great that day. And listen, I don't know, you know, if we would have went in there with or without Maui, would the result have been any different? They were the better, tougher team. Now, that being said, there is some truth to the Maui deal. And, you know, you don't know how much of it's physical. You don't know how much of it's mental, emotional, you know, and then, you know, you throw on, you know, next thing you know, you're playing at elevation, you know, on top of that, you know, I have guys
and a conference game.
And a coffee. What? Listen, and so like, listen, but there is something to be said. I mean, it's really interesting, you know. The only times we have to play 3 games in 3 days are like an MTE like that. And those 3 day in a row MTEs are kind of dying off a little bit, you know, or you're seeing people are putting a 4th day in there. And so teams get a rest day, and that's probably not a bad idea. Or your conference tournament, you know, and then it just takes it's such a toll on your team, you know, and then, you know, I mean, last year we felt it like, you know, winning the Pac-12 tournament Saturday night, you know, you get home late. Next thing you know, Sunday, you're figuring out where you play, and then boom, you know, you don't get any time to recover from 3 games in 3 days. I mean, that's hard stuff. So, yeah. So there you go, Andy. Put that on your long list of things we need to consider for player safety and players' rights.
So, with that being said, how much is this team playing as we go into this Arizona State game like you were in Maui?
Well, that's a great question. You know, I mean, hopefully we're playing better. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, like, you know, it's a month later, and you know, hopefully we've had some experiences that, you know, we've learned from and are playing better. But, you know, I mean, now you're coming off a break, you know, you're going to play your first game on the road, and you know, you kind of never know what it's going to look or feel like. You know, obviously we know we're playing a tough opponent that's had a really good preseason as well. So, you know, it's going to be a war.
Well, it feels like so far this season, kind of like last season, but I know different teams, that your team has risen to the challenge. And, you know, you guys were ready from the jump against Indiana and Vegas, the Tennessee game, same deal. So you've had high-level games since Maui, obviously the conference stuff as well. And here's another challenge. But it seems like your guys are just ready. Okay, let's bring it. Let's go.
Well, we have a competitive, scrappy group. We do. You know, and you know, and when you look at the kind of the makeup and the DNA of some of our players individually, I mean, they're scrappy guys, you know, they're competitive. And so, you know, I don't think we're a team that shies away from anything, you know, but I definitely know their coach is giving them a healthy dose of reality and letting them know that it ain't easy. And you got to show up and you got to make it happen, you know, especially on the road. You know, you can't sleepwalk into these games and, you know, expect them to go your way, or to expect, hey, you know, let's get through the second media timeout, then we'll start, you know, getting it done here. It just don't work like that. So, you know, we're on them for sure.
So obviously your bigs have performed at a high level. There's no question Tubelis is having a player of the year type season, an All-American type season in this month since Maui. Yes, you guys are playing better, but who individually have you seen take their game to yet another level?
Well, I mean, obviously the bigs, you know, you start with those guys, and which you already have. But, you know, Kerr's been amazingly consistent, you know, over the course of this season, and just, you know, he is the straw that stirs the drink, so to speak. And then, you know, Courtney Ramey is, you know, come in, he had to miss those first 3 games, you know, and then he kind of came in, played really well at Maui, you know, and now he's got enough games under his belt where he's getting comfortable. You know, Pelle Larsson, I think, is, you know, he's played well. You know, maybe not up to his full potential, but, you know, but the kid has incredibly high potential. So, I mean, he's still really impacted the game. I think he's averaging career highs, and, you know, even his shooting numbers are down a little bit. So I'm expecting him to make a big jump. And then another guy that I've been really, really happy with, you know, is Cedric Henderson. And Cedric's played really well for us. He's doing all the things we're asking. You know, I think, you know, maybe he's been caught in a little bit of a minute crunch here and there, whether it's me trying to, you know, play younger players, understanding that, you know, the window might be closing on the opportunity to get some of those guys minutes, you know, with conference games looming. And but he's somebody that's played really well, and I think is well positioned to be like a, you know, sixth man of the year in our conference type of player.
I know you're new to the state and to this rivalry, but what do you think it means when both you guys are playing well? And I know they had their USF game, which might be more of an anomaly, but overall, you know, having, you know, 2 or fewer losses and, you know, having this game means something. What do you think that does for the state, for the Pac-12?
Well, I think it's one of those games, no matter how the teams are playing, it means something. And when you sprinkle on top that both teams are playing well, I mean, I think it's great. I think it's, you know, it's really good for the state of Arizona. You know, I'm happy for Bobby that he's gotten off to a good start. And I know it's going to be a heck of a battle. And, you know, I think it's really cool that it's going to be a meaningful game. And hopefully it's 2 teams that are, you know, competing, you know, to play at the top of the pack.
All right, Tommy. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Have a good one.